Welcome back, action junkies. If you think you've seen cinematic violence, you haven't seen 2026. This year, Chinese action cinema has delivered some of the most ruthless, bone-breaking, hard-hitting action films we've seen in years. These aren't your typical fight films, these are raw, brutal battles where every punch feels real, and every second counts. If you love intense combat, savage choreography, and pure adrenaline, this list is for you. Let's uncover the 7 most violent Chinese action films of 2026 that feature beautiful brutality. Number 7. The Sin Trade. The Sin Trade is a brutal fight film in which a rough-edged cop, searching for a missing female student, abandons all police protocols and travels thousands of miles alone. He walks straight into a deadly crossfire between a human trafficking ring, where girls are sold, tortured, and murdered, and a criminal nightclub syndicate that rules the underworld with guns and blood. With no backup, fueled only by an old grudge and reckless courage, he charges into hell to rescue the victims. This film features violent and bloody battles with hand-to-hand combat, improvised weapons, and relentless attacks that emphasize the danger of his mission. Number 6. Crush the Wicked. Inspired by The Sixth Robber, Crush the Wicked follows a long-running manhunt that stretches across nearly a decade. The story begins in the early 1990s, when a brutal criminal gang led by Zhang Bin carries out a series of carjackings and murders. Years later, when the gang resurfaces to commit one last desperate crime, a tough detective teams up with a civilian to finally bring the fugitives to justice. This film features violent shootouts, bloody hand-to-hand battles, and relentless pursuit sequences. It builds tension with its dark atmosphere and delivers a hard-hitting climax that emphasizes justice, revenge, and moral consequences. Furious Attack. Fueled by furious fights and intense battles, this Chinese crime thriller follows a former soldier who takes matters into his own hands after his daughter goes missing. In his desperate search, he confronts ruthless scam gangs and violent organ traffickers. Despite being a B-movie, Furious Attack delivers solid action. Andy Yeon's character battles through crowded streets, dark warehouses, and smoky bars, using martial arts, knives, and sheer strength. The fight scenes are raw, with bone-crunching punches, bloody knife duels, and chaotic brawls against multiple enemies. The film's energy comes from these brutal clashes, making the battles the heart of the story. The Butcher's Blade. The Butcher's Blade is a blood-soaked wuxia film with action that hits hard and fast. The story follows a low-ranking constable, long ignored and humiliated in a corrupt system. When disaster relief funds vanish, he is framed as the scapegoat. Branded a criminal, he is dragged into a dangerous underworld ruled by powerful officials. Forced to survive, he transforms from a kind-hearted underdog into a hardened fighter. The film features brutal sword fights that erupt suddenly and end violently. As the story progresses, the combat becomes harsher and more relentless, blending hand-to-hand brawling with weapon-based duels that feel painful and personal. Fight Against Evil. Fight Against Evil is a hard-hitting fight film that delivers visceral, violent action. It starts as a light-action comedy, but slowly becomes dark and serious. The film follows a relentless cop forced to unleash his bone-breaking brutality to rescue an innocent victim from the horrors of human trafficking. As the stakes rise, the action becomes more grounded and vicious, with intense hand-to-hand combat. Every punch lands harder, every hit feels heavier, and the violence becomes painfully real. By the final act, the film turns feral, raw, chaotic, and fueled by desperation. Ultimate Revenge. Ultimate Revenge begins with a violent crime wave. As the city falls into chaos, an elite police unit is deployed to stop the ruthless gangsters. After both sides suffer heavy casualties, the conflict becomes deeply personal, turning law enforcement into a desperate fight for survival. Driven by a dual vendetta where every kill demands revenge, the film descends into a savage cycle of rage and moral collapse. What truly defines Ultimate Revenge as a violent action film is its non-stop barrage of explosive set pieces, extended shootouts, high-speed car chases, and bone-crunching hand-to-hand combat. The action is loud, chaotic, and unforgiving, with scenes packed with gunfire, bloodshed, and intense close-quarters fights that leave little room for calm. Instead of focusing on deep storytelling, the film delivers raw, aggressive energy, making it a brutal, adrenaline-fueled film of 2026. The undisputed king of violent action cinema this year is The Furious. The story follows a desperate father whose daughter is taken, pushing him to wage a brutal one-man war against a violent criminal syndicate. Weapons, fists, and environment collide in chaotic, no-holds-barred fights where survival is the only goal. The action never slows down, delivering an unrelenting, adrenaline-fueled rampage from start to finish. There you have it, the 7 most violent Chinese action films of 2026. If this video fed your need for cinematic violence, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. We've got more brutal countdowns coming your way. See you in the next video.